All right, so we made it. We are standing right in front of the Lincoln Memorial Cemetery here at Mount Scott, Portland, Oregon. And the reason why I wanted to start here in front of the building here, the main offices, is not only did we go in and get some more information about today's particular vlog, but the name of this place in particular, Lincoln Memorial. That's right, paying homage to Abraham Lincoln, a man, a president who was unfortunately shot and killed. But the reason why we're here today is to visit the final resting place to a man who is credited with actually help capturing the man who shot Abraham Lincoln. He's buried right here at Lincoln Memorial. Let's go inside the cemetery and check it out. So we just visited the offices and they were kind enough to basically draw me a map. It's a giant cemetery, so we're gonna have to basically just stay on this little beaten path. And the reason why I wanted to kind of start here this morning is because not only is this a beautiful cemetery, but it's named after our president, Abraham Lincoln, who, if you guys know the story, was shot and killed. And this particular cemetery actually holds the final resting place to a gentleman that is basically credited for helping capture the man who did it. Let's go and check out his final resting place and pay our respects, and we'll also learn a little bit more about the man who helped capture the man who assassinated Abraham Lincoln. Was able to figure out where I'm heading stuff, but I always just like to check in and just tell them thank you as well, because there's been times in the past where I've utilized their offices, computers, and things of that nature. So stay tuned, we're almost here at the front entrance. Also, it should be fairly easy to find, but we have to creep up into the older section of the cemetery. We were just way up top on the other side here at the main offices, and they sent me down here to the older section. So we're gonna creep up in here and check out something that I thought was incredibly cool. All right, you guys, we should be getting close here. I took just a quick little break. It's mostly all hill, but it is a beautiful cemetery, and I love all these trees that everything's surrounded by, especially these weeping willows. Really give it really peaceful, beautiful. Wow, this is pretty through here. It looks like the sun's trying to peek through for us today too. And I just love this shot of Portland. Very nice. All right, where we're heading is just right down this path here into the older part of the cemetery. This is the newer section here. So we're gonna make our way down to the other side. Wow, look at this headstone. The tree has completely moved it. Looks like it was kind of just placed because of the rooting of the tree. Interesting. All right, we're getting into the older cemetery here. You can see the headstones are upright. All right, so right next to this beautiful tree, surrounded by all these trees, right here is the grave, the final resting place to Emery Parady. I believe I'm pronouncing that right, and if I'm not, I'm terribly sorry. If you can see there, father, 1844 to 1924. He was also the O.H. 16th New York Cavalry. And if you can see there, the headstone actually states one of the 26 enlisted men who captured John Wilkes Booth, the assassinator of President Abraham Lincoln. So I just thought that was so incredibly cool to know that one of the men responsible for the capture is buried right here at Lincoln Memorial in Portland, Oregon. Not to mention the cemetery is Lincoln Memorial, so it kind of ties that in. And apparently John Wilkes Booth, after he shot and killed Abraham, went on the run. So the government enlisted these men to capture him. And I believe how the story goes is John Wilkes Booth was held up in a barn after being on the run, and Emery and his men basically waited him out and eventually actually set fire to the barn to get him to come out, which in fact later killed him. And John Wilkes Booth, you know, the man that killed Abraham Lincoln, as the story goes, and one of the members here, right here in Portland, Emery Parody. And there's also a placard that I found online at another kind of honorary thing for him, I believe in his hometown, and I will insert that here and we will go ahead and read it as well. But you know, 1844 to 1924, one out of the 26 men who captured the assassinator of Abraham Lincoln, buried right here in Portland, Oregon. I just find that so cool. And I just love the fact that they actually engraved all that information on his headstone. And it looks like this is actually, a lot of his family is buried here as well. It looks like his mother, his sister, and I believe Cortez Parady, that may have been his brother, and some other members of his family as well here, Silas. But I love the fact that this is right here in Portland, and a pretty interesting looking headstone too. It's the upright one, which I like, and then it's kind of got the kind of different style to it. But right here, one of the men responsible for help capturing the man who assassinated Abraham Lincoln. That is so cool. I love the fact that he's buried right here in Portland, Oregon too. After 2 days after the assassination of Lincoln, John Wilkes Booth actually hid in a farm in Virginia and was later found. And how they actually got him out of the barn is they set it on fire. They figured that'll get him out. If the smoke doesn't, you know, the fire will. As John Wilkes Booth made his way out of the burning barn, he was shot, which mortally wounded him, and Emery actually ran in the barn and pulled him out. He was the gentleman that actually ran into the barn, and after all the fire and the smoke settled, John Wilkes Booth came out. They shot him, which wounded him, and Emery Parody is the guy that's credited of actually carrying him out of the barn. And Emery actually wrote to his folks telling them about the fire that was set to try and get John Wilkes Booth out of the barn. He was basically hiding, and the fire was set, which enforced him out of the barn. And in 1866, Emery and the rest of the men were awarded $1,365, which at the time was a tremendous amount of money, just about 5 or 6 years worth of salary paid. So they definitely wanted him captured. Emery was born in New York, as you can see there, 1844. He passed away in 1924. so cool to me that he's buried right here in Oregon. I just love the connections, all the connections to Oregon. Really such a small world. This man was super brave, not really knowing what may happen, risked his life to capture that man, to capture John Wilkes Booth, man. That shows a lot of bravery to me, so definitely love to keep people's memories alive, and took a lot of courage. Somebody that would risk their lives for others, to me, is just, that's just incredible. I just love the history and the Oregon connection to that story is so cool to me. And to think that he's, you know, one of the men that actually paved the history for everything, you know. And with the assassination of Lincoln, you know, they were more keen to people doing that kind of stuff too. So one more time from the beautiful Lincoln Memorial Cemetery here in Southeast Portland. I love you guys for always creeping with and tuning in, really, and always leaving your comments. I really appreciate you guys very much. If you guys did enjoy this vlog, make sure you guys give it a thumbs up. You can also ring that bell down below. That way when I creep, you guys will be the first to creep. But I just love that story. That is just, it's just so cool to me. And like I said, bravery. People that would risk their lives for others and capture people that would do such things. I mean, it takes a lot of courage. So rest in peace to everyone that's risked their lives for others. Creeper out for now. Peace.